Now let's talk about this shooting and some more details about the suspect in the double homicide in Lancaster County Sunday night are now coming to ourselves a little bit clearer here. We're taking a closer look at this. A protection from abuse order, also known as a PFA, filed by one of the victims, might give us some more context about the relationship between the suspect and his victims. This is 63-year-old Santiago Payano-Sanchez, accused of opening fire on his estranged wife, her sister, and his son after an argument. CBS 21's Maxine Rose, once again, taking a closer look into this history we've been able to learn about this family, and she's now in West Hempfield Township with more information.
Joel D., well, we know that the protection from abuse order was filed in 2010 and that it had expired in 2013. That PFA coming from one of the victims who was at this home right behind me here. West Hempfield Township's police chief tells me that he was not aware of this PFA. But remember, this was just about a dozen years ago. So any context or clues about there being violence at this home behind me was not obvious to police or neighbors.
You hear arguments and stuff like that, fights, but I would just think that it was not that unusual.
Neighbors say they had never noticed there being any real issues with the alleged suspect, Santiago Payano-Sanchez. West Hempfield's police chief tells me there was an argument between Payano-Sanchez and one of the victims the day before the shooting, but that they were never called to it. The next day, this is what neighbors said it sounded like.
I was just sitting in my living room and all of a sudden you hear all this commotion and come outside and there's like screaming and crying and people running everywhere.
In a protection from abuse order filed in 2010, one of the victims, Ana Maria Gutierrez, claims she had suffered a history of mental and verbal abuse from the alleged suspect since divorcing him in 2003. In it, she writes, quote, "He said that if he found out another male is taking me anywhere, he would kill him, like killing a dog, and then would kill me."
Is a PFA enough to keep someone safe?
That's a hard question. It depends on the situation.
A PFA requires that the defendant, or in this case, the alleged suspect, had to surrender all of his weapons. That was until it expired in 2013. The police chief tells me today the gun the alleged suspect is accused of using had been legally obtained and that he had a license to carry.
I can't say for sure whether or not we've been to that address for those individuals for any other issues in the past. But as far as the situation itself, I mean, it's a senseless tragedy.
And CBS 21 has filed a right to know to learn more about the alleged suspect's potential criminal history. So far, we have not received that information, but as soon as we do, we will share that with you on air and online at cbs21.com. And the police chief also tells me today that the adult child who was injured in this incident on Sunday is now in stable condition. Reporting live in Lancaster County, I'm Maxine Rose, CBS 21 News.